Freiberg. Please welcome Lara.
No, I don't.
Great.
Thank you. Thanks so much, Elliot. It's really cool to be up here on the Pony Express, now Speaker Express stage. So in the words of Oprah, because every good speech starts with Oprah, these are two things that I know for sure. Number one is the greatest freedom that you can have in your life is when you don't need the approval of other people for your choices and for who you are. And number two is the greatest experience that you can have in life is when you can be and live in the fullest expression of who you are. Who's with me? Yeah, hands up, Elliot will like this. So they sound really simple, right? Like we all know it, but there's a difference between knowing and being and living it. And I think they're actually difficult because of societal pressures and familial pressures and patterning that was imprinted on us when we were young because when we sought approval for things that we did and when we wanted to be included in the playground, it felt awful to be left out, and essentially we wanted to belong. And belonging itself is not necessarily a bad thing. Belonging is great, but here's when belonging becomes a problem. When you need to belong and you need people's approval, and it comes at the expense of yourself, that is the problem. And see, when that happens, what that means is that you're subjugating yourself for the needs and expectations and wants and desires of other people. And that means that the world gets this kind of watered down, hologram, empty version of you and not the truest part of who you are. And so I stand before you today, not as an expert, because I actually don't believe that any of us are experts to become these two things. I think that the whole of our life is a journey to become these two things. But what I know for sure is that right now, I'm the closest on the path towards these two things than I've ever been before. And it's not been an easy journey, and it's a journey that I'm still on, but I would like to share with you the three things, or three of the things actually, that have helped me in the last 18 months. Is that okay? Yeah? Okay, great. So I'm going to take you back, we'll rewind to October, November 2017. And I called my best friend Zas up and I said to her, Zas, I'm really not happy. And I said, I feel like every day I'm doing this, it's a waste of my life. And I feel like my soul is dying. And I'm going to resign in a few weeks. And that's exactly what I did. A few weeks later, I resigned from my position as head of legal, with not a clue about what to do next. And here's the thing. For me, that marked the beginning of the journey towards becoming the person that I feel that I'm meant to be. Because it was the first time that I wasn't sort of going to her to go, hey, what do you think I should do? Or, okay, I think I'm going to do this, but here are the pros and here are the cons, and what do you think? I wasn't needing the validation from her that the decision I was going to make was the right decision. I was simply telling her, I was just informing her, this is what I think, this is what I feel, I don't even know why I feel this, but I am going to do this. And so that, for me, is what the confidence of being is about. It's a journey to self. It's a journey inward. It's a journey to sort of tap into the truest part of you and who you are. And so here are the three things. Now, the first one is letting go. So it's taking things out of your life. The second one is spirituality, putting something in. And the third one is creativity, again, putting something in. So letting go. For those who know me, my cousin's sitting in the back, I find it quite hard to let go of things. I am probably a little hoarder, and I am a little sentimental, which is a very bad combination, and so it's hard for me to let go. And basically, I've had to, along this journey, I've had to let go of people and other people's opinions and ideas and things that didn't really sit with me. And I'm going to tell you a few of them. So can you just raise your hand so I feel like not as alone when I'm telling you this? Who here has felt, I'm not special enough? I don't deserve to have what I want. I'm not worthy. I'm not as good as so-and-so. I'm not enough. I mean, we all know them, right? We all know them, we experience them. There are self-talk, there are demons, but they're really fucking hard to let go of. And it is a process. I mean, I know it, I can spot it, but it's getting rid of the feelings. And when you let go, you allow other things to come into your life. And one of the things that I allowed in was spirituality. And spirituality, I mean, it sounds a little woo-woo, right? But for me, it means, because I'm a thinker, I like to understand things. And allowing spirituality in was basically opening myself up to the possibility of things that I didn't quite understand. And that there might be a purpose for something later on, but I didn't really know it, and I was just trusting. And when you sort of open yourself up, then the universe gives you people. And so I sort of met people who introduced me to human design and energy healing, and they got me making vision boards and drawing oracle cards and basically doing things that actually made me feel good. And then that brings me on to the third thing, which is creativity. Now, Liz Gilbert says that when you're alive, you are a creative person. So anyone, when I mention creativity, that's immediately thinking, oh, I'm not creative, I can't do it. You're creative just by being who you are and the choices you make about clothes, about food, about what you're going to do, about how you express yourself. And there are two practices that I started doing that some of you may have heard of. You've heard of Julia Cameron? Yeah? So Julia Cameron wrote The Artist's Way, and I haven't followed The Artist's Way all the way through. It's one of my goals to do this year, but these two practices I did introduce into my life, which are morning pages. Who's heard of morning pages? And artist dates. Who's heard of artist dates? Okay, great. So Julia Cameron, I went on her weekend, the Artist's Way weekend in May, and she said that you have to do those two things together because morning pages are the homework and artist dates are the joy. And so morning pages, for those who don't know, are when you write 3 pages of A4 longhand first thing in the morning. It's like a brain dump. It's before your brain is engaged. You're supposed to do it before you get sucked into your phone. I'm not as good. I do like to see what WhatsApp messages pop up in the morning. But apart from that, I do it. And then artist dates are you take yourself every week alone for 2 hours, and you do something that delights you, whether it's going into a pet store and stroking animals, or I did an alternative street art tour, or basically anything where I feel where you're sort of tapping into the thing that brings you joy and the thing where you feel like you're you and the thing that you're just drawn to. And essentially all of these things that I ended up doing unconsciously and not planning over the last 18 months were feeling things. I was a thinker, and I still am a thinker, and I like to think and understand, but what I did by tapping into the feelings of everything and naturally gravitating into the feeling of what brings me joy is I felt that it brought me to the truest part of who I am. And why I know it's worked is because it allowed me to create my interview series, The Red Sofa Conversations, which is out on YouTube. And until this point, I would have been scared about what people would think about what I was saying, and I would be scared about who would see it because, maybe if I was going for X or Y corporate job, they would kind of think, oh, I don't know. But now it's like really weird because this series, the mission behind the series is to connect us all as human beings and to show people that we are more alike than we are different, which I think is really necessary in these really divisive times. And what it's allowed me to do is to put out content that I really believe in because of the vision, rather than holding it back to make it perfect and have subtitles and editing and, perfection, essentially. And I'd rather commit to the vision and believe in the vision and be able to just be who I am authentically within it than hold back and have a more sanitized, perfect version. And so all I want to leave you with today, it's another Liz Gilbert quote, I love her and I saw her speak last month, is, I've got one minute to go. Oh, wow. What I want to leave you with today is this. It's a quote from her new novel, City of Girls, and this is what it is. There's no point in being anything other than what you are. I'm going to say that again. There's no point in being anything other than what you are. And you see, when you allow yourself to be exactly who you are, the world, I believe, gets the best version of us. It doesn't get the version that's kind of trying to fit into boxes. It doesn't get the version that you think you should be, or you should act as somebody else thinks that you should be. It's the version of you that is tapping into your essence. It's where you get to be still and you hear the little voice and you're guided by your intuition. And then what that means is that I've always thought that what everybody really wants in life is to be fully seen and heard and valued. And the thing is, if you aren't living and being and acting as the fullest expression of who you are, you're never going to be fully seen and heard and valued for who you are. You'll be seen and heard and valued for the fake version or the hologram version. And that's just no good for anyone. And that's no good for you in your life, you in your speaking, you in anything that you do. And so that's what I want to leave you with. There's no point in being anything other than what you are. Thank you.